We've got 4 ESP32s with temperature sensors in the house. They're all attached to the local network. We've got a 5th ESP32 running this relay, also on the network. There's a Raspberry Pi in the middle. It's got a mosquito broker, and all the devices are attached. This laptop's got a server running on it, but that server is sending commands to control the relay while at the same time serving a web page that we'll eventually use as our IoT dashboard. Our server is able to interact with the system because we brought mqtt into this Node.js application. This is the folder we created last week. Inside of that is an interface folder. This has the code for the application you just saw in the intro. It's a Node.js app serving pages out of the public folder. Inside of public, you see this index.html. That's what you just saw on the screen. We're going to be weaving mqtt into this server code, but not just yet. Let's create a Workspace application to work out some concepts first. This is going to be another Node.js application, so we have to npm init. I'm going to install mqtt and then add 2 files. So here's our Workspace waiting for us. We've got our app.js, and we're going to connect to an mqtt broker. You recall we've got a broker running on the Raspberry Pi, but to make things a little simpler right now, I'm first going to install Mosquito on this laptop. I've done a couple videos on spinning up Mosquito in a Docker container. They're linked in the description, so I won't cover it here. But in short, we're going to create a service called Mosquito. We're going to pull in the Eclipse Mosquito image. We'll expose it on port 1883. And then we're going to link our mqtt.conf file to the running container. Inside the mqtt.conf, we're simply going to tell the broker to listen on port 1883, and then we're going to allow anonymous true, meaning we don't have to provide a username or password to connect. So there's our 3 folders. If I go inside mqtt and docker compose up, you see that it is running. So with that, I will add the D flag, which means this will now run in the background. Now we've got Mosquito running on our laptop. I'm going to move to the Workspace. Our app.js is just going to pull in this mqtt connection, and then it's going to use it. So let's build up that connection. This is about as easy a setup as you'll ever see. We just bring in mqtt, tell it to connect, and then export the connection. I say connection here. This is technically a client, but I don't find that to be as intuitive, so I call it a connection. That's all we need for the connection, but I'll add a little bit of feedback here. When we connect, we're going to console.log. Let's require this module in app. And then when we run it, that fires off the connection. The connect object does take parameters. So far, we've just been banking on the default. I'll create an options object with host and port, and we'll hand that over to the connect function. We're using the default still, so it should behave the same. Let's add to this console log so we can see which broker we're attaching to. It connects just the same, but now we can confirm that we're attached to localhost 1883. That's attaching to the broker on our laptop, but what about the one on the Raspberry Pi? Port 10.0.0.86. Well, I'll simply change the host, fire it up again, and now we're connected to that broker. What if we want to attach to a broker in the cloud? I've got one running at mqtt.ohioiot.com, port 8883. There's only a few things we need to change in our configuration. We have to update the host and port, of course. This particular broker requires a username and password. Now, I don't want to have my password in the code, so I'm going to inject it with environment variables. We can install the .env library. And in your code, when you require .env and call config, it'll load any .env file you have in this directory. But when you run it, you get this awkward message. The way to quell that is to add quiet true. Now I can add a .env and feed it some environment variables. I'll give it my mqtt username and password, obfuscating the password, of course. Now we can bring these values into our code like this, and then pass those variables into the options object. And one more thing is, whenever you're using TLS with mqtt, you've got to specify that the protocol is mqtts. So we run that, and now we're connected to an mqtt broker that's actually in New York. To make this more robust, we can set defaults in our mqtt module, but make way for environment variables to override. And instead of hard coding that protocol, I'm going to say that if I bring in a username and password, that means we are using TLS, and I'm going to need mqtts. Now, we can drive everything from our M file. The same code can be used to attach pretty much to any MQTT broker. But that's more than we're trying to accomplish right now, so I'll just pull this stuff back out, and let's focus on attaching to our Raspberry Pi-based MQTT broker. There's a couple other things we can add to this module. Always good to get feedback if you're disconnected by the broker or if you get an error. And one last thing to point out, if you've ever done mqtt with the ESP32, you're required to give it a client ID. In the case of Node.js, this module will create a client ID if you don't provide one. Notice in the broker logs, we've got this mqtt.js with a random number. Those were generated for you. If you do want a specific client ID, you can put that in the options object. I'll use Workspace here. We run it, and you see in the broker logs, we've got a Workspace device attached. For what we're doing right now, I don't think it's necessary, so I'll pull it back out. So this is our complete MQTT module. Let's look at what we have so far. We've got our Workspace. Let me rename this. I'm going to call it our talker, and I'm going to make a copy of that and call it a listener. We now have two MQTT programs that don't do anything. In the talker, I'm going to publish hello world. The topic is hello, the payload is world. And in the listener, I'm going to subscribe to the topic hello. Anytime a message is delivered to the topic hello, this program should pick it up. All the payloads in MQTT are binaries, so to access a text payload, you've got to do this one conversion every time a message comes in. Got the talker and the listener side by side. When we run the talker, nothing happens. But let's fire up the listener and then run the talker again. You see, each time we run the talker, the listener gets the message. I'm going to set the talker to publish this message on an interval, let's say every second. Now when we run it, you see that coming into the listener every second. I need to do a quick aside on MQTT topics. In order to receive a message, you've got to subscribe to a topic that matches what was published. It's got to be an exact match, except there are two wildcards you can use to give you some flexibility. Let's step through some examples, and I think you'll see the pattern. So let's say you subscribe to topic hello. You'll receive all messages that are published to topic hello. You won't receive anything else. Let's say you subscribe to hello there. You'll receive messages that are published to hello there, but you will not receive messages that are published to hello, and you will not receive messages that are published to hello there friend. We can bring in this wildcard. You notice that topics are strings separated by slashes. Whenever you use a plus sign, that is a wildcard for one element in the topic. So if you subscribe to hello/plus, the topic must have exactly two elements. So for instance, you can receive messages published to hello there and hello friend, but you will not receive messages published to hello or hello there friend. It's got to be two elements in the topic, and the first one has to be hello. You can move the plus sign around. If you subscribe to plus/there, you'll receive hello there. You can also receive hey there, but you're not going to receive hello, hello friend, or hello there friend. It's got to be two elements where the second word is there. The other wildcard is the hashtag. This has to go at the end. This gives you access to all messages regardless of how many elements come after the provided string, meaning if you subscribe to hello/hashtag, you'll receive hello there, hello friend, hello there friend, but you won't receive hello because it's going to need at least two, but can have more than two elements. Lastly, if you put the hashtag first, it won't work. You won't receive any messages at all. I'm going to delete the app called Listener, and let's rename the app called Talker Transformation. We're going to take this app and have it listen to the Raspberry Pi broker, take some data in and transform it. Let's start by seeing what the broker even has. Let's subscribe to everything. And then we've got to create a listener. It's going to receive a topic and payload, and we want to console log that topic and payload. But remember, it's going to be a binary, so we have to convert it to a string to do so. Let's fire this up. And you see, there's all our devices we talked about in the beginning. We've got ESP32s with temperature sensors and one controlling a relay, and they're all sending their status over to the broker. I'm going to rerun this with NodeMon. We want it to restart every time we make a change to our code. For starters, I'm going to try filtering on temp/plus sign. This will give us only the data points that begin with temp and then have a second element in the topic. If I subscribe to relay closed, speeding up, we see that we get only relay closed. If we do plus closed, we still get relay closed because that fits the topic pattern. If I do hashtag closed, it doesn't work at all. We get nothing. That's an illegal topic. By the way, these mqtts are publishing with no payload, so I put in this fallback to let us know that, in fact, the payload is null. Let's just go and grab our temperature data. That's what we actually want to transform. You see that we always have temp as the first element, but we have different device IDs. We want to extract that out. So I'm going to split the topic on the slash. When you console log the split topic, you see there's two elements in this array. So we want to get the second element, which will be splits 1. The payload, as we mentioned, is coming in as a string. So we want to convert that to a number because we're going to do math on it later. So let's console log out what we have. Let's confirm we're successfully getting to a number. Output looks good. I'm going to change the workspace to just focus on the transformation app. So I want to keep track of the temperature data that comes in, and then I want to be able to ask for the average value. I'm a big fan of this pattern where you just create a separate folder and then have a module for each piece of state you're maintaining. No matter how simple the program is, it's just nice to have one place where you have fine-grained control over the values in your state, and then you can expose functions to the rest of your app to manipulate or access that state. So you can see here, I'm just going to define a register value and a get average, and how that math is done is all in one place, and I don't have to lose track of it elsewhere in my program. Our register value is going to take a value for a given device ID, and we're just going to write that value onto the object. Then for the get average, we'll just drop in an algorithm here to get that average value and return it to the caller. With that in place, we can now bring our functions into app.js. We'll bring in register value and get average. Whenever a message comes in, we're going to want to register that value. And just for reference, let's log out that average to make sure it's working. It is, we can probably clean up the decimal points, so I'm going to make this to fixed. Now this is going to convert it from a number to a string. That's going to be helpful in a second. We now have 2 decimal places on the average value. We don't need to see that every second. I'm going to change this to just under 10 seconds. And then lastly, we can publish this out. Keep in mind that get average is returning a string now, so we can publish it directly. But actually, let me just bring it in on top instead of calling the function twice. Let's log the average temp and let's publish it. So that's our transformation app working. It's logging what comes in for temperature, and it's console logging the average value that it's pushing back out onto the system. Let me change the focus of VS Code so we can see all 3 folders in one place. We now have a decent mqtt module, so I'm going to copy that from transformation to the interface. Now I'll change the VS Code focus to just the interface folder. Remember, this was a server serving a web page. So if we spin it up, we can go to port 3010, There's our IoT dashboard in waiting. In the server logic, I'll add a console log so you can see the different routes that are being hit. Give it a label. Every time I refresh the page, you see 4 items. The first is the original request to the server, and the next 3 are the scripts that are being requested by the HTML page that's being served. But we can bring mqtt right into our server code. I'm going to require the module, subscribe to all topics, and write the same event listener to listen to all messages, convert the payload to a string, and then console log what we get. And you see all the temperature data, the relay closed, but now we've got the average temperature that's being published by our transformation app. We can refresh the page a couple times and prove it's still a server. Let's instead listen to average temp. That's coming in okay. Let's also add the relay status. It could be closed or open. You see, in our interface, we're going to show the temperature and the status. So those are the data points we care about. We're now listening to the IoT system, but let's publish to it. I'm going to create a send command function to go every second. It doesn't exist yet. Let me import one here from a module that doesn't exist yet. I'll create command.js. It's going to export a function that takes mqtt and then returns a function that will send a command out to the system, toggling between on and off for its payload. The ESP32 controlling the relay is looking for mqtt messages with topic command, and then the payload should be either on or off. One typo, I had camel case down here, but I don't like camel case. Let's just make this readable. Lastly, we'll console log when we send this mqtt so we can see it on the screen. And we bring up this whole system. We're now sending this command to turn the light on and off. We've got this web page that we can refresh. That's all there is to it. We've got an app serving an IoT dashboard, and that same app is talking to IoT devices through mqtt. So let us wrap it up. This basic mqtt module we drafted is pretty handy. I'm not even going to bother to put it in GitHub. It's one page. I will just put this directly in the description. One thing is I'm going to change that IP address to localhost. We are so close to having our live IoT dashboard. We're talking to IoT, we're serving a web page. The one thing we're missing is communication between the app and the page. This is going to be solved next week with Socket.io. Once we have that wired up, we're going to have a live IoT dashboard that is sending commands to the system and listening to updates from the system. Subscribe if you want that video to show up in your feed. Ohio IoT is live. Automated graphs and dashboards, over-the-air firmware updates, WhatsApp messaging. You still program with setup and loop. Check it out at Ohio IoT.